Hello, Julie. How are you?
Hi, Elena. How are you?
Oh my God, so good to see your face.
Great
Beautiful.
to see you. Great to see you. I've got one of your beautiful lip colors on. And I'm like, I
Yes.
have to wear one of Elena's colors that she was
Oh,
so
I love
generous
it.
to give me some samples, and I love them. They're beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's a little plug. Buy two, get one free. This weekend is only. But anyway, let's get to you. I mean, we met in Niagara Falls
Yep.
just in May and definitely clicked, sat near each other. And it was just kind of like, we definitely have to stay in touch, and hearing your story on stage and then just knowing you as a human being off stage, you are absolutely amazing. So tell everyone.
Don't make me cry. Don't
Well,
make me cry right from the
I'll be
beginning.
right there with you. So
I love
tell
it. I love it.
everyone
Thank
who
you.
you are, what you do, how you serve, whatever flows through you, just share it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. It was truly my pleasure to meet you in Niagara Falls and hear your story. And when you asked me about doing this live, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so honored to be a part of what you're doing for others. Like, you fire me up, Elena. So thank you so much for that. I'm just grateful to be here. So a little bit about me. I do have multiple businesses. I've done a lot in this lifetime, I like to say, and it's been pretty magical in a way. So gonna take you back on a little bit of a journey. My story today for all of you is about, it's never too late to reinvent yourself. So we all have time. At age 42, I did it. So anything is possible. I can tell you that at that time in my life, I was kind of at a crossroads. I had recently gotten divorced. I was very successful working for mainly Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies, flying all over the country. I did a couple of different roles, but my most recent ones were business consulting and also manufacturing rep for very large companies with very big territories. Part of that, as you can imagine, being a recently single mom and having a young son, it was really hard. I kept having to get on a plane. The day that my parents and my son had to drop me at the airport, and it was my son's 7th birthday, my dad, who is as hard as it comes, you guys, he's an amazing entrepreneur himself. He was an executive in business. He is very tough as nails. He looked at me and almost with tears in his eyes, and he said, I know you're doing really well, and your mom and I are very, very proud of you. But looking at your son with the tears streaming down his face and him saying, Mommy, it's our special day. I don't want you to go anywhere. I don't know, Julie. I think it's time to rethink things. And you know what, Elena, on my whole trip to Texas, his words rang in my ear. And I'm like, my dad's right. You know I'm well compensated. I can handle all my bills on my own. And I'm in a really good spot as a single woman. However, this isn't really working for me. But I had gotten stuck in my mind that these were the only jobs I could get where I would make this kind of money that I was used to. And I had a certain, lifestyle. I had commitments that I had, having a child, having my own home, my own car. I'm like, what can I do? Right. So I happened to get really lucky and run into my childhood best friend in the grocery store. We had lost touch. I hadn't seen her in years. We were like two kids in a candy store. When you see somebody that you just love, jumping up and down, hugging each other, crying.
Yeah, it's like a day never went by. You're like,
you know
right
what I mean?
there.
It would be like if I ran into you fortuitously, like in an airport, we'd be like little kids. So she just looks at me and she's like, oh my gosh, I have a little girl. I'm like, I have a little boy. She's like, can we go to the park this weekend? I want to catch up. Yes, absolutely. So we go to the park and the kids are playing, and she just looks at me and she's like, I'm sick, Julie. And I'm like, tell me more, right? And she's like, yeah, it's bad. It's cancer. And it's a real situation. And so I just, I do what I do. I go into like solution mode. Well, like, what can we do? What doctors have you talked to? What are all the things? And she's like, this is why I'm telling you. Because you know what, Julie, you've always been that person that even in high school, even when we were young, people would come to you and ask for advice, and they would get wise counsel, and you would actually go into action mode about connections that you have to help other people. And she's like, I just don't know. So, Elena, it was a gift to me to be with my friend at the end of her life. Unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Wow.
Wow. But it was truly a gift to me to spend that time with her, because she challenged me. And she said, something, there is no time like the present to start your own business, and you've always wanted to be in business independently by yourself. And you give such great advice to others, and there's a way that you could really make an impact in the world. And I challenge you to figure this out. And,
Wow.
I
So
said,
that
yeah,
gift came from your friend.
yes, that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't give up, don't ever stop believing in yourself. Like, if God puts this on your heart for you to do this in this manner, like, you can do this. So then, Elena, I was at a crossroads, and I'm like, okay, do I go, because I have a pre-law degree, do I go to law school? Is what I'm meant to be? Am I meant to help people maybe through medical situations that weren't so ideal, because that's really what my friend had experienced? And I'm like, am I meant to represent people? How am I meant to help others? And then I got thinking about it, and I'm like, one area that I'm really pretty savvy on is financial. I'm actually, this is like a skill set that I've had, because I've developed it over the years, being a business consultant, helping very large businesses and doing some different things. And I'm like, I enjoy this, like succession planning and all of that type of work. And so I said, I think I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna, go and see what it requires. So started out part-time working my full-time job, and then I transitioned. My first year in business with the first broker dealer I was with, I was in the top 20 of women in the country that were doing the type of work that I was doing. I continued to get more education, more credentialing. I continued to grow my business. I went to a larger entity, a larger broker dealer. They're in the top 4 in the world. I was lucky enough to get to the very top of their company and attain a special status with them. And then I was lucky enough to meet my business partner, and he and I just really clicked. We had been through some similar things in life. He had unfortunately lost some people very close to him in life. And he also had experienced like a divorce and kind of rebuilding of himself. We started working organically together, and just to see how it went. And clients loved it. Like, if we had a husband and wife team, they would love the dynamic of having the two of us. And then we really started to say, you know what, like, we can be the best planners, financial people in the world, but if we don't help people address their mindset, we're not really helping people.
Wow.
So we decided we wanted to be more independent. So we were able to find a company where we could be more independent, and created our own LLC, which is now Breathe Capital Planning. And the work that we do today is not only like, do you have a great financial plan, but let's talk about why you've gotten stuck before. What's gotten in the way for you? Do you believe that you can succeed? All of these things. We do specialize in a couple of different markets. One that's near and dear to my heart, as you can imagine, is women that are reestablishing after divorce. It's complicated.
It's complicated.
A lot of women don't have a great depth of financial education. So to basically bring somebody up to speed so that they feel comfortable managing their own stuff, I think is a critical piece. Two other areas that we really enjoy and we excel in is working with entrepreneurs. So people just like yourself. We work with business entrepreneurs to make sure that they're on track to hit the goals that they want to hit. And then real estate has become a market segment that we really enjoy and have really excelled in. We recently just expanded our business. I've added on the motivational speaking piece of it. This is something that I had done in previous lifetimes and previous jobs, right? And then in addition to that, we just recently launched another part of our business, which is business consulting. So at this point, we're able to do full business consulting as well as the financial work that we offer as well.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's amazing that the step came from a random, well, I say random, but completely divine meeting in a grocery store of an old friend. Like, ultimately the path that it has taken you. But you touched on a huge point that I want to bring up, because you talked about rebuilding after divorce, but for me, becoming a widow and trusting that all of the financial pieces were being taken care of, and realizing after the fact that no, they absolutely were not, and it's a hot mess. But what happens is you step into a space, you feel intimidated.
100%.
Intimidated. And so whatever, whoever's out there watching, whatever your circumstance, but there's an intimidation. So it strikes a fear. So you don't even want to ask the questions because you feel stupid for having the question, and it's a snowball. So you just hide from it.
There is no stupid question. Do you know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah. So what do you tell us? What do you share with us?
I've been in the room with other like experts in my field, right? And one thing that will just fire me up is if someone is talking over someone's head. No, if I see that you get the glazed over deer in the headlights look, I stop the meeting and I say, did you understand what we were talking about? And if they say no, I say, let's break it down. And I think, Elena, my gift has always been, and I never knew that this was a gift I had, is being able to translate highly technical information into real people speak. And I didn't even know that I did that because I was in construction before. I know it sounds crazy, right? All these male dominated industries, and I'm such a girly girl, but I was in, construction, and I would be with engineers, and the engineer would be talking to the client, and the client would be like, what in the heck is he talking about? And I would say, okay, well, what he means is we're going to have to do this, this, and this in order for that to flow and for that to work. And and I didn't know I had this gift.
Yeah.
So I've learned, and I had to learn and learn. So highly technical things I can synthesize and then try to put it in real people speak, right? Because at the end of the day, we all just want to work with real and authentic people. You know, you can just be yourself. Like if I made mistakes along the way, 100%. And I share my mistakes with our clients. Like I am not a perfect person.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of money and I've had no money. And I've been everywhere in between. And you know what? It's okay.
So you can speak, you can speak on it all about it all now.
Yeah.
So looking at this all in a nutshell, what do you feel you are most passionate about? Like, what is it about the work you do?
Yeah, I mean, I feel so blessed to have it. I feel like at a young age, even though I think I'm still very young in my mind, I am, right? To have found my divine purpose and to be able to share it, to basically take some of the lessons, some of the really hard lessons that I've had in life, and to use them to bless other people. Having navigated, a highly complicated, very complex divorce that took 3 years, that could have gotten,
wow, that's a long time.
Could have gotten kind of challenging. And to able to, now be in a place with my ex that's very workable, and our goal is totally on, our son and like his goals and where he's headed next. And to have navigated that and to be able to use that to bless others, to help others, to have been an entrepreneur a couple of different times in life where I was a 1099 contract employee for people. So I understand, like, what do you have to do? Like, should you be paying quarterly taxes? Should you not? Like all of those things, and being able to take those learnings and really bless others with that. I think it was Gisela. Was Gisela right before? Okay.
Yep.
She gave great advice. And this is one thing that we make sure that our clients really do. You want to make sure you're set up correctly from the beginning, because you expose yourself to a lot of liability if you're not. So we do an audit with people right from the beginning. And we say, okay, hey, listen, here's where you are and here's where you'd like to go. In order for us to get there, there's some critical pieces that we need to make sure we take care of before we do that. I feel like how my partner Noah and I are very different is that we not only create and develop the plan with you, the plan is not our plan, it's your plan. So it's whatever you tell us the goal is. We're going to work like crazy to help you get there. But it really becomes a couple of different things, talking about the mindset. Okay, tell us about when you tried this before, what happened? Why weren't you successful? What are some things that worked well and what are some things that didn't? And let's really dig deep and get into the bottom of that. He's got an education background, which helps us tremendously. And he's one of the most patient, most amazing human beings walking the planet, especially to be my partner. But also, my consulting background kind of marries this together to create a very rich experience for people. So being able to really help people affect change and to get them over that area that they felt stuck, because money can make you feel stuck, right? Whether you've had a lot of money, but you never knew how to manage it, whether you never had money in your life and you have no idea how to deal with it, whether you were married and now you're not married, or you lost a spouse and you have no idea what's going on in a business. Like maybe you're really good at your business, but you have no idea how to be structured to be long-term successful. We love that work. We love doing this work with people. We went to a best interest standard in our business where we actually work with people under a best interest standard, which means not only is this advice for you, good for you now, Elena, but it's good for the future as well. As you can imagine, that comes with a lot of compliance and a lot of information that we have to share to make sure that our recommendations are on point, but we feel strongly that that's really the future, if you will, in our arena. And I feel that people are really seeking this out. They're seeking true financial advisement.
Yes, not somebody that's in it to gain just for themselves, you know, and those are where you've seen those things happen in the past. But what do you tell the person that, you know, because I see this in generations as we've gotten older, like, it was never taught. We didn't know how to talk about money. We come from a place where it was just handled, but it wasn't discussed. And then now we're in the place where we have to manage it, but we don't even really know how to manage it. Like it wasn't openly taught. And so
it was like a taboo or like a big secret, right?
And it's like, where did it ever get that? Like money is energy and it can be, it's flowing and it's going to come or it's going to go. Like it's doing both right now everywhere. So how do you like get somebody to step out of that fear? Because it's usually that fear that keeps you stuck in that place.
We have developed a series of questions that are very consultative in nature and I'm gonna actually share the first question with all of our listeners and all of your people because it's helpful. But I want you to think about, and you and I will just do this exercise together right now. Okay. This will help, okay? But I want you to think, there's two questions I'm gonna ask you that are kind of twofold. Elena, think about your very first memory of money. Whether it be positive, negative, whatever it is. And if you're willing to share it with us, feel free to share it with us now.
Oh yeah. I'm going to talk about because I did a lot of money work. Let me tell you. My first experience, do you mean like the first time I remember seeing an exchange or what it represents?
The first time you really truly understood that money was an exchange for something. So it could have been when you were much younger. It could have been when you're a little bit older and you had a greater understanding. Sometimes it's your first job or the first time you get paid.
My first experience was thinking it was always there. Like number one, it was always there, but it's how my dad, I grew up, they were extremely wealthy, successful in their businesses. So when I wouldn't see my dad for like 3 days, he would show up with things and we had like an abundance of money, but my family was falling apart. Okay. That's what it means to, so I had that fear that like, if you have a lot, it destroys all of this. Yes. That's my memory.
Okay. And that's not uncommon. So when I talk to somebody about that, I say, you know what's happening when you think about money, you actually have a negative feeling inside of your body somewhere, right? Because it brings you back to a place that didn't feel good. Didn't feel good. So oftentimes, in order for us to create the space for you to have an abundant life, to realize that, as you said, money is energy. It's just transfer. It's just like it's flowing all the time, right? It's neither negative nor positive. It will amplify what you have internally. I can tell you that. But the one thing that we must release is we must release these feelings. And a lot of times I'll give our clients like a journaling exercise, let's write this out. Let's really talk about this. And you can rip this up and disconnect from this. You can burn it if you choose to, and you can just let go of that energy. And then you know what, Elena, let's make some space for how you want your relationship with money to be as you move forward. Yes. I want you to be as descriptive as you can. You can either, if you're not a writer, you can text yourself, you can audio yourself a note, right? We have so many mediums today that help us. It's so transformative. It's awesome. But whatever it is, do that. And then like if you're open, and most of my clients are pretty open with us, I'm like, could you share that with us? Because that's so important.
Yeah.
There's another 6 or 7 questions that we ask, Elena, that I'll be honest with you, you can't run from. They're not scary,
Yeah.
but they help us help you, because it helps us really get to like what's going on for you.
Yes. And I think that that's
Not only with
huge.
money, but with that,
Yeah.
whatever is holding you back, like
Yes.
what area in your life are you neglecting? Like if you
And I think that this is huge. Like people, this is why after when my husband died and it was like, oh my God, I lost it all again. This is why I dug into it, because it's like, how does this keep happening? What does this mean to me? And when I tied it back to realizing that I stayed away from it because I thought that that was the cause of my family being ripped apart. So I always thought if I have less, then that will keep my family intact. Like it's, and so I learned this, and I did an exercise that was, if money were a person, who would it be? And I'll tell you what, I didn't like the little bee. Like, I was like, I needed to put her in her place because she looked at me like I was not good enough for her. And I just thought, girl, sit your booty down because I'm here to make my place. I mean, it's amazing at the work that can go behind it. So I think the conversation you bring up is so valuable, and it's something everybody needs in some capacity. We all need it because we're afraid of this topic, and I don't like, it's crazy. We were taught not to talk about it, right? Like, you don't talk about it. I was blessed with the parents that I had that were very transparent and very honest with my brother and I about money. That transparency has helped me be super transparent with my son, who I think I shared with you guys in Niagara Falls, has really listened to both his father and I, who both own businesses, and has capitalized on these lessons. So at 12 years old, he came to us and said, I want to start my own business. I'd like you and Ted to be investors. And hey, it's got a tremendous return on it, on your ROI on this. And he showed us a business plan. We're like, okay. So he's in the sneaker resale business and he's very successful. You know, Elena, so successful that he saved 50% of his first car before he was even 16 years old. And so I am like so blessed that he actually did listen to, you know, you always want your kids to listen. You're not sure if they are, but I'm really blessed. And then it's been amazing. For a year and a half, Jared and I homeschooled, and we were able to take parts of his business for him for learning. So he understands his profit margin, his losses. He understands how much cash reserve he should have in that business. What his liabilities are. He understands like key critical business concepts at 16. So there's a way, there's so many reasons why the internet is so powerful and can be used for such good in the world. One of your guests said it earlier, I think it was Nikki, you know, where she's really taken a lot of what she's learned and helped her children, you know, bring them along. Because I will tell you, in America, one way to really win is to be an entrepreneur here in America. So if you take a look at the way that things are set up, having a business is really to your advantage in some capacity. I agree.
I've studied all of it, so I know.
Well, and it's beautiful to have the mix, because a lot of times you do find the people that if they do talk money, it is that you get that glazed over look on your face, and it's like so monotone, and I call it like toast. It's just bland, you know. And so for those of us that are those like creatives that our minds are all over and everything is animated, you're just like, I'm going to sleep over here. And so to have the perfect mixture, that is a gift of yours. Like that is absolutely a gift of yours. So what do you see forward, or what do you see in serving more, or what does that look like to you? So as I move forward, you know, it opened my eyes. Going to Niagara Falls with all of you guys opened my eyes to so many things. Meeting all of you guys at that time, I connected with yourself and a couple of other key people, and I really was inspired, highly inspired. So I will be doing some additional work with some of the people that were in that group, which I'm fired up about. The Unleash You Now team. I love all of them. They're amazing. And then I'm also going to be doing
an event here in my hometown in Rochester, where we're going to be doing some financial education for women business owners specifically in the fall. And then I'm starting my own book. So I started the first couple of chapters about just my personal journey and how that morphed into a professional journey. Like I said earlier in the beginning, when we started talking, Elena, my message to everybody is it's never too late for you to start and reinvent yourself. If you're not happy, I do this work every single day with our clients. If you're not happy and fulfilled, it's going to permeate the rest of your life. So what do we need to do now? And how do we get your financial plan to support that? So how do we get you set up so that you can take advantage of different opportunities, different things that come your way, that you don't feel restricted, that you don't feel like I felt 10 years ago, that you have in your mind the freedom to make choice.
So if there's somebody listening or tuning in that either now or watching the replay, that says, yeah, all of this is great, and I know that I need to plan, but I don't even have enough money to pay my bills right now. What do I have to even plan? What's a starting point?
What's a place to start? Yep. A place to start. Well, you're never going to succeed if you don't really get real. So this whole getting real thing, just simply putting your pen to paper, and it all comes back. I don't care if you have $100 million or if you have $1,000, it comes back to how you're managing your money day to day, month to month. So a critical piece of everybody's plan is their cash flow. So if you could just write out, here's my income, here's my outflow, here's all my bills, what do I have at the end of the month? Then you really take a hard look at it. What truly brings me joy? If there's things on there that you're ordering like at Amazon and it stays in the box and you haven't even opened it, did you really need that? If it didn't bring you joy, if it didn't bring you fulfillment, I'm not saying to totally cut back, but things that don't bring you joy and are not impacting your life, is it necessary? If it's not necessary, I call it a money recapture process that we follow, where we actually go through and we get rid of things that really aren't sparking joy for us. Kind of like reaccounting your budget, your spending plan. We call it a spending plan. We don't like to say budget because everyone hates the word, right? So, kind of like reinventing that. If it's not bringing you joy, if it's not serving value for you or your family, why are you doing it?
Yeah, I love that.
So let go. And any place where I can recapture, like I'm also, I don't know how I got this gift, but I have a forensic gift where I can see where somebody might be overspending. So it's always a good opportunity once or twice a year to take a look at who your vendors are. Are you getting a good value for the services that you are getting from them? Could there be a better discount? Are there options available to you? Anytime you can recapture, even if it's $5, where's that $5 going? Don't let it go back into your regular main account. Have a plan. And that plan could be to just transfer to a small little savings account. I don't care if it's $5. $5 over the course of the year can add up. So, and it's also back to your daily habits. That's another key area that you can look at. Something that we did as a family, we decided to kind of cut back a little bit. And we decided, okay, do we really need to go out to dinner once a week? Maybe we don't. Maybe we plan to do it twice a month. And the money that we recapture, let's put that into an account where we can do something fun together as a group. So those are just some small tips where you can get started. My partner and I offer a complimentary consultation for anybody that would like to talk to us. We will talk to you and just give you some tips and tricks. We'll also explain our process. If that's something that you'd like to entertain, then we move forward with that. But the first consult is always free because we really want to help other people.
Yeah,
that's why we're in this business.
Yeah. And I think like if you do have a link to that consultation, if you want to put it in the comments of the feed or just on my page, just put it on my page because this is huge. And I think it's a subject, just from my own experience, it's a subject that I had to get real on myself. And when I realized that, I think a big part of it, it's just that intimidation that you feel. I know I did, that I felt silly, that I didn't have the answers to these questions that they were asking me as the wife, that I felt, gosh, should I have known this stuff? Like, I didn't know it. And so it just snowballed into almost like its own depression. It was like its own little beast, that the more that I realized how much debt was there and how much I didn't know, I just didn't want to talk about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to a point where if I'm going to rebuild anything, I've got to talk about it. Like, I've got to reach out. So it's hard. It's humbling. It's embarrassing. It's, you beat yourself up. You think like, I know better. Like, there's just so much that goes into it that I think even just putting that link out for somebody to be able to reach and get that first consultation.
1000%, 1000%. I will put that out, Elena. Anybody that needs to talk to me, I believe there's a divine connection on our path. So I will definitely put that out. And I would also say to you, give yourself grace, because you weren't included in those decisions. So it's very unfair of yourself to judge yourself for decisions you were never included in. We're very collaborative. So whenever possible, if there's a partnership or a business partnership, and a marriage is a business arrangement.
Yes.
I tell this to people all the time. We need your partner. So we are very collaborative. We want all the parties there. If you have someone that helps you make business decisions or money decisions, I want that person there. I want to meet them. Yeah.
Well, and I'm even thinking when you say collaboration, my brain goes to like, the work that we're doing. But as I see, I talked about the Christmas Widow hosting 2 events a year. And a big piece of that is financial piece. I think it's critical that we offer services, resources, education around the topic. And you don't have to be a widow to need this help. But I mean, even young people just starting out, and it just needs to be talked about. And I'm so passionate about it because of my experience of growing up holding this energy around it that took me excruciating pain to see it, right? So so I already see that. Like, I'll be calling you and come and motivate, speak, but talk money too.
Awesome. We're all better together. That's the message I always have. Whenever possible, I love to collaborate with amazing people like yourself that have a spirit and a gift for wanting to reach out and help others.
Yes. Thank you, Julie, so
Thank
much
you.
for being
So
here
good to see you.
You too.
Have a great day. And I'll be listening the rest of it's been a great day listening.
Thanks. Yeah, like I said earlier, if you're up in the middle of the night, come say hi, right? So,
I will. Thank you.
We'll talk
Bye,
to you
guys.
soon. Bye-bye.